Hello everyone, happy Sunday to you, and thank you so much for stopping by the channel. My name is Talisha and I also go by CreativiTeeByT, and in today's video I'm going to share who the winner is for the giveaway for the Simplicity 3003 pattern that I did on my channel a few weeks ago. And I'm going to be sharing my most recent 2 makes that I made just in time for Thanksgiving, and they are perfect for Christmas gifts and birthday gifts as well. So if you're interested in seeing what I've made and what I want to share, please continue to watch. And if you're interested in making the pattern that I'm going to be sharing with you in just a few, you will want to watch this review because I do have some helpful tips with sizing. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the giveaway. All right, so again, a few weeks ago, I shared 2 tops that I made on the channel by using Simplicity 3003, and I gave my honest pattern review like I always do. And I also had a giveaway, and I am going to go ahead and announce the winner now. And I'll go ahead and put that clip in. Okay, everyone, so I have everyone's name inside of the Wheels Picker. There were only 8 entries. There were 68 comments. Half of them were probably me responding back, but only 8 people entered into this entry for Simplicity 3003. So I'll have everyone in here, and let's go ahead and click to spin. Sorry, my video is not showing. I'm not sure what's going on with my screen recorder, but anyway, let's go ahead and click to spin. And the winner is Jessica AJ.Create. Congratulations, Jessica. Jessica is actually one of the ladies that I met at Chicago Fractal. So that's so cool that you were able to win this. And for Jessica, just DM me on Instagram where you want me to send the pattern, and I will get that sent out to you this week. Congratulations again, Jessica AJ.Create, and thank you to everyone else who participated in this giveaway, and there will be more, so keep a lookout. All right, again, so thank you to everyone who participated in the giveaway. I truly appreciate each and every one of your support. And Jessica, again, just DM me on Instagram and I will go ahead and get that package sent off to you. All right, so let's get on to the rest of today's video, which really was supposed to be something different. It was actually going to be like a requested video, but I needed to finish noting a few points so that I don't miss anything, because it's not like my typical video. And I also wanted to share these makes that I'm getting ready to share with you prior to Thanksgiving, so I will make that video later on this week. But anyway, I made 2 things this week, and they are not wearing garments, like clothing I should say. They are actually aprons that I shared with you on my November sewing plans. I made 2 cute, okay, aprons, and one of them is reversible. And again, I made them just in time for my Thanksgiving preparations, and these will be wonderful gifts. They don't take a lot of time. But anyway, as everyone knows, I love aprons. I spend a lot of time in the kitchen because of my boys and my husbands. They love to eat. They love their little snacks. And I also like to bake. I don't know if you all know that baking is like a thing for me. So just like with my garments and having different things to choose from so that I can dress according to the occasion or my mood, I like to do the same for the kitchen. And I made a couple of fall themed aprons, and I know that we're like deep into fall and almost hitting winter's door, and some may think I should have just been making the Christmas aprons, but don't worry, those are coming next. They're not getting away with it, okay? But anyway, I went ahead and made these, like I said, for those reasons, and because I already had purchased the fabric for that purpose, and I didn't want the fabric sitting around. They would have just been sitting here until next year, okay? And it's a very easy make, so I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and make it. And I actually made a sew along for these aprons too, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna post it or not because I was having issues with my sim chip. It kept giving me an error, so I started recording it with a different device, and I don't like the angle, but I don't know, I have to think about it. So we'll see. But anyway, let's get into this pattern so that I can give you all the details, and this won't take super long because it was super simple, okay? So the pattern that I used was Simplicity 6206 right here. This is a 1960s vintage pattern, and the description for this is 1960s vintage gift and kitchen accessories. Create a variety of simple to sew kitchen accessories and gifts, all in 1960s vintage style. Okay, the pattern includes 3 aprons. It includes oven mitts, a headscarf, a shoulder bag, and a clutch. And it's not saying this is a reproduction, it's saying this is Simplicity original vintage sewing pattern. We know that they reprinted this, so I'm not really sure what the difference between reproduction and just like original vintage sewing pattern means, but that's what it says. Okay, so as mentioned when I was describing the pattern, this pattern has 7 views. Okay, so there's 3 aprons, 2 scarves, a purse, or what they call it, a shoulder bag, a clutch, and an oven mitt. I made the view V3 which was the apron, and it is the most simple apron on this pattern. I actually purchased it for apron view number 1, and I'll put a picture in here of what that is. However, well, actually I purchased it for everything, but that pattern for the apron in particular is the one that caught my eye. But anyway, I went ahead and decided to make this apron, which is view number 3, because it only uses 1 yard of fabric, and I have a bunch of 1 yard fabric cuts, and I just thought, you know, I wanted to do something simple. So now for the fabric recommendations are not noted on the pattern, but I did use 100% cotton, and I would assume that you would need to use the same for every view, minus the scarf or the clutch and the or the shoulder bag. But for the aprons, you should definitely use cotton. For the oven mitts, you should definitely use cotton, and the scarf and the clutches could be, you know, a little bit more versatile. Now the sewing skill level is noted as average, but it is because of the different views. So I believe, like with the clutch, you have to put like a zipper in, so that is probably why it's called for an average. And I think one of the views for the aprons call for buttons, but for the view that I made, which is view 1, again, this is beginner level, learn to sew. Okay, now notions needed for my view. It calls for 1.5 yards of rickrack, which I did not use because I didn't want to put it on this apron. However, I do plan to use rickrack when I make my Christmas aprons, because I think I'm going to go ahead and just stick with this pattern, and I will share with you that process when I make those aprons, because I do have some giant jumbo rickrack that I want to use from my stash that I purchased earlier in the year from Amazon, so stay tuned for that. But outside of that, the other notion is just thread, and again, it only calls for 1 yard of fabric for this pattern. Now for the sizing is 1 size on the pattern. It just says 1 size, so you don't have to worry about sizing lines when you cut the patterns out, and that is for all views, all 7 views. For the pattern pieces, you are going to need 4 if you make it the way it says to make it. So I did use the 4, which was the main pattern piece for the apron, the pocket, the straps, and the necktie, or neck strap, I should say, neck strap. And for the pocket, it does only say to cut 1, and on the picture of the pattern, it only shows the lady in the red here with 1 pocket. However, I prefer to have either 1 large pocket in the front or 2. So I just cut 2 and transferred my pocket marking on both sides of the apron, and I put the 2 pockets on each apron that I made. So that is one change that I made. As far as the other alterations and changes, yes, I decided to make one of the aprons reversible. I did that because I thought it would be fun, and I was going to use that fabric that I use as my reversible side as like the back side anyway. So I just thought to myself, why not put the pockets on that side and make it like fully functional? So that is what I did. Now for the other pattern with the patchwork, which I don't have pictures of that, so I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like in a second here. But I use muslin for the back side of it, just to double it up, because I didn't want to, you know, put pockets on that side, because I don't really want that side exposed because it's so light. I don't want it to get dirty. But I feel like 100% cotton is pretty lightweight, and or quilting cotton at least, and to only have one layer of fabric of quilting cotton, in my opinion, is just not enough weight for me that I prefer. Even though I have done that in the past, you know, but again, I just don't prefer it. So that's why I doubled it up. So instead of just using like the 1 yard of fabric, I cut out a second main pattern piece, and then I laid them right sides facing and stitched it all the way around, and I left an opening in the bottom so that I could turn the apron inside out and just have clean, you know, finishes and things like that. Outside of that, it does call for a narrow hem all the way around the whole entire pattern, and which, you know, could look nice, but like I said, I just prefer a heavier weight, and in my opinion, doing that is a little bit faster, but again, that takes you away from the 1 yard. So if I was really just restricted to using 1 yard of fabric, that is what I would have done. And then once I did that, stitched it all the way around, pulled the apron inside out, I did do a top stitch or edge stitch around the whole entire apron to make sure that the two fabrics didn't puff out when washing them and things like that. But yeah, so that's just one thing that I did to change it. And I do, even though I didn't make those changes, I do still feel that it looks like the photos, because it still at the end has those overall looks. So let me show you the patchwork one with the muslin here. And like I said, I have pictures for the other one, so I don't necessarily have to show you that. But this is the patchwork apron. I know you can see it. I know I don't have a wide angled view, but yep, this is the patchwork apron. I can't talk. Here's my ties, and then, you know, these pockets right here. And so for the back side, I just use, like I said, muslin fabric, and then that won't show. And then I'll show you my top stitching that I did all the way around. This will be up close so you can see that top stitching all the way around, even around the arms. So, and I did that all the way. Then at the bottom I just, you know, top stitched, and that's what closed off the opening that I used. So yeah, but outside of that, even if you did the narrow hem, it was fine. I mean, that right there, the narrow hem would be better for beginners if you're not sure how to double up layers. But the instructions were easy to follow, even though I didn't need them. But again, for those of you who do, you won't have any issues because there's only a few steps and it's very beginner friendly. The things that I liked about the pattern is that I liked that it has all these different, you know, views to sew up. Even though I only sewed the one, I just like that about this pattern because there's 7 views and you get a lot of value out of this pattern if you take advantage of it. And I also like that it's very simple for the view that I actually made, which is again view 3. Very simple, and it only needs 1 yard of fabric if you choose to only go that 1 yard route. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And also I like the style and how quickly this makes up. Like I said, it doesn't take very long. I made them back to back. I didn't dislike anything about the pattern. And as far as recommendations, the one thing I will caution you on is the necktie or neck strap. I don't know why I keep calling it a necktie, but this neck strap right here is what we're going to talk about. Okay, so when I put the apron over my head, I noticed that I didn't have like a whole lot of room to get it over my head, but it was enough for me. Okay, I just noticed that it wasn't like a whole lot, you know. I was like, oh, okay. So because of that, I measured the finished necktie, and what I mean by the finished necktie, I'm meaning from like this end to this end sewn on. And after I measured it, it did measure out to 22 inches. Now, I have shared before that my head circumference is 21 inches. So basically, I only had an inch of space when putting this over my head in the largest part of my head, which is why it kind of felt a little tight. Now, especially like with this big old fluffy wig on my head, you know, it just felt, you know, a little bit tighter. So if I didn't have it on, it wouldn't feel like that. But 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have a big wig on because I like big hair. So I am saying that to say, measure your head. And if your head is 22 inches around, make sure that you add an extra inch to the neck strap pattern piece. If your head is 23 inches around, make sure you add 2 inches to that pattern piece, and so on. Now, although it was noticeable to me that it was like, you know, not so loosey-goosey going around my head, it does sit perfectly on my body where I want it to sit, so I would not change a thing for me. And it really is not, it's not uncomfortable at all. You do have all that space that you need once it's over your head. I just noticed that, you know, it's you know, it wasn't like super loose going over my head. One thing I did notice about this pattern and the pattern that I made before for an apron was that the last pattern that I used had a casing all around the front of the apron, so from like the sides all the way to the front. So there's like one long neck strap, or yeah, like neck strap that, let me explain it to you. This neck strap, just say that there was a casing that was in here. Sorry, I'm trying to straighten this out on my body so that you could see. Okay, the casing that came all the way from this side was all across the front and came around the armhole. And with that, the neck strap was one long neck strap that turned into a tie. So just imagine this just being in a casing and looping out and coming all the way through, just like you were tying up a hood. Okay, so then when you pulled on this, the strap shrunk, you know, because it was going further inside. But if you pull the neck strap out, it would get longer. So basically what I'm saying, the last pattern was adjustable, and that is a good feature. But I feel like it kind of, like the neck strap tie gets jumbled up in the casing sometimes, and you know, very wrinkled. But there are pluses and minuses to both designs, and so if you feel like that's an issue for you and you just want it to be more adjustable, then I would suggest maybe using a pattern like that. But for me, this is fine. I just make the, you know, just make the adjustment to your neck strap that you need. And then there's also designs where there's longer neck straps and there's like a buttonhole that you can put here and just add buttons on to the ends of the neck strap, and then that way it's adjustable that way. So there's times people just put the buttonhole in here and then they'll make the strap a little longer and they'll just tie a little knot at the end so that it doesn't come out. So there's different ways to modify this pattern, but overall this is a very good pattern and I don't need to change anything because it works fine for me. So but I didn't have any first time experiences. This fabric that I use were both fabrics that I picked up a while ago during my fall fabric haul, and it did come from Hobby Lobby. I love like all of this faux patchwork on the second apron that I made. I think this is super adorable and just screams fall. And then I love all of the bright pumpkins on this one, the reversible one. And actually they're both reversible but you know, this one has pockets on both sides, so it's fully functional. But yeah, I absolutely love the fabric. And again, I made this just in time to start on my Thanksgiving contribution. So yeah, but anyway, I would definitely recommend this pattern to others. Like I said, you get a lot of value out of it. This pattern is available on the simplicity.com website and at Joann Fabrics. And I feel like this pattern maybe came out like a year or two ago. I'm not really sure, but again, it's available for purchase. This pattern says that it came out in 2018, but I honestly don't believe it's been out for 6 years or so. I don't know. I feel like I bought it when it came out, and that was like a year or so ago. But anyway, so yeah, that is it for my little aprons. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, this is a perfect gift. You don't have to do what I did and double up the fabrics. You can certainly just do a narrow hem. Definitely add the rickrack if you like some more decorations, because they add rickrack to the pockets and to, you know, the edge of the pattern, or the neck edge of the pattern. When I do my rickrack, I am going to double the fabrics again, and I'm going to be using a jumbo rickrack, so I would prefer for my rickrack to be enclosed. So like I said, keep an eye out for that. So if this video was helpful and if you enjoy looking at these aprons, please take a pause for the cause and click that like button and hit the subscribe button if you like this type of content, and the great notification bell so that you could be notified of future videos. At some point I will have a full detailed dedicated review on the blog for these aprons, just like I do with the other things that I make, and I will link to it. I will come back and link to it in the description box below, and I'll also put it on my community tab when I do get them posted. I just didn't have time this weekend to do that, so I apologize for that. But if you're one that likes to look at up close photos and things like that, definitely stay tuned to the blog, and go ahead and please let me know your thoughts about the pattern, and let me know which view or views that you would like to make. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to all of my new and returning subscribers for your support. Congratulations again, Jessica, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.